see who I have with me tonight, Dr. Medea Saeed, and she is she's the author of multiple books, but we're going to talk about this one specifically tonight, The Holistic RX for Kids, Parenting, Healthy Brains and Body in a Changing World. I want to know, as soon as you get logged on, I want to know where you're from. Put your questions up here. Share this with your people, because let me tell you about her. She is unbelievable. She's a family practice physician. She's also known, and many of you may know her, as the Holistic Mom MD. And I'm going to put her website. Actually, I do have her website up here. We'll scroll it up. You got to make sure you get on her website after this. She's Holistic Mom MD on social media, Facebook, Instagram. She's a board certified practicing family physician in the United States. She's also an internationally known speaker and best-selling author of multiple books. The best-selling book, The Holistic RX, Your Guide to Healing Chronic Inflammation and Disease. And you know, inflammation is the devil. It is hands down something I talk about every single day. It is a phenomenal book. And she also wrote a functional medicine children's book series, which I find amazing. Adam's Healing Adventures. Oh my gosh. Dr. Hyman, she's been on Dr. Hyman's podcast. Dr. Hyman loves this book as well. She wrote the pandemic Healing Adventures, the Pandemic Prescription, Restoring Hope from the Quran. Sunnah and Science. Is it Sunnah?
Yep.
Science. Okay. And she's just got so many books, it's not even funny. But she's the director of education for Documenting Hope and Know We Well. She sits on multiple medical advisory boards. I mean, her list goes on and on. And she lives in Illinois. She graduated. You went to school in Illinois as well, correct?
Absolutely.
Yes. And let me tell you, this woman is a kindred spirit. We actually have not met in person, but we have connected like immediately. When you read her book, The Holistic RX for Kids, you're going to see so much of my book. We literally released our book 2 days apart, and they are so similar. Hers is packed with mainly lots of kid stuff. But let me give you some information here on children and inflammation. Our children are oftentimes born out of the womb inflamed with chronic systemic inflammation. Here's some stats that are going to horrify you, and she's going to talk more about this as well. Chronic diseases have quadrupled among children since the 1960s. Quadrupled. What's a chronic disease? A chronic lifestyle disease. Those are diseases that you weren't born with, that I talk about all the time. Those are things that you turn on. 54% of all U.S. children have been diagnosed with a chronic health condition. It is estimated to soar to 80% of children will be diagnosed with a chronic health condition by 2025. Is that correct? That's
Absolutely.
what the book says. Obesity.
Craziness.
This is insane. Obesity rates have doubled in more than 70 countries since 1980, and they have tripled in children. Obesity rates. 1 in 6 U.S. children aged 2 to 8 have a diagnosed mental, behavioral, or developmental disorder. Autism rates have nearly tripled since 2000. 1 in 54 children are diagnosed with autism. 1 in 34 boys. 1/4, it is estimated. 1 in 4, by 2033. 1 in 4 children will be diagnosed with autism. And the list goes on and on and on. I have so many statistics. It is absolutely horrifying, and it is preventable.
Absolutely. And this is why this mission, and this is why I think I resonate with you so much, is because we're both on this mission to get rid of the devil, the inflammation that's prevailing in our society. Because right now, literally, our children, because they're living imbalanced lives, that leads to then chronic inflammation. And studies have actually shown that chronic inflammation disconnects the two main pieces of decision making, your prefrontal cortex and your amygdala. And you need both of those pieces to work appropriately in order for our children to make logical decisions. But guess what? Because of these imbalanced lives that they're living, with too much screen time, increased diet, lack of diet variety, increase of junk food, increase environmental toxins, increased stress, all of that is bombarding the body and leading to an imbalance that leads to chronic inflammation. This then obviously really destroys our children's brains and bodies from the inside out. And this is why I love your book, trying to keep it simple and easy. And that's what I try to do with mine, because we know, people love science. We got a little science in there, but how can we do this practically and bring this to mamas and papas and grandparents and, people all over the world?
That's exactly right. So you see children, your family practice, so you see all ages. And she has 4 boys under the age, well, I don't know. How old's the oldest boy?
14, 11, 8, and 6.
Unbelievable. She's a busy mom and a wife and a practicing physician. So what are we going to do? My 6 steps to healing: eat well, sleep well, move well, poop well, de-stress well, and commune well, cultivate community. What are we going to do? What are we going to do?
Well, I like to coin this holistic parenting, specifically for parents, because holistic parents helps to put the child's brain and body back into balance. It alters genes in their favor. It optimizes their brain function, their organ function, their tissue function, DNA, mitochondrial, really influencing every cell of their bodies to function optimally. So again, holistic parenting, we're on the same page here. Holistic parenting can educate and empower our children to be more mindful of their mind, their emotions, their body, their soul, so they know what it feels like when they're in balance. And this is what we do with our clients too, right? To teach them what they feel like when they're in balance. And as soon as they start to get off balance, their kids are able to recognize it and then be able to fix it with the tools that we have taught them as parents, caregivers, grandparents, aunts and uncles, to help put their bodies back into balance. Because when you're giving this beautiful child, right, they didn't give us like an instruction manual that came with it. And a lot of it just comes up with you know what? It's just sort of by chance if you get a child that's really great. And it's by chance if you get a child that is a little delinquent. But no, it doesn't have to be that. There's so many factors that we as parents can, implement in our children and help create this petri dish that can really empower these children to grow optimally, brain, body, behavior. So it's all about giving these kids the resilience, because just like we can teach kids to brush their teeth, we can teach them gratitude and movement and nature and how to eat well and stress management and how to poop well, right? So we can teach our kids these just like we teach them how to brush their teeth.
Exactly. What do you do when a mom is overwhelmed and they come in there and this child is acting up? The child is maybe a little overweight or showing signs they could be pre-diabetic. Where do you start? Where do you start with these kids? Are you drinking out of a jar? So am I. Connection. This woman is like my sister from another mother over there. So, gee whiz. Where do we start? Start with this. I got choked on water Friday night, and I have coughed ever since. Tell me this. Where do we start? Where do you start? Do you start with diet? Do you start with sleep? What do you do?
So first, when this mom comes to us with this child, we got to understand why, right? Because in that why there lies the hope. So why is our child sick? Why are they misbehaving? Why are they overweight? And so if we can understand the root cause of all this suffering, and then we can help to put the child's brain and body back into balance. So really diving into a full-fledged history of what could be going on, starting all the way prenatally, right? A history prenatally, how was the pregnancy with this child? What was the delivery like? Even how was your health before you got pregnant,
That's
and
right.
then what happened afterwards. So really diving into the history. So really asking why, because if we can put this child back, internally, externally, with just figuring out their individual deficiencies, and then starting there with each one, because everybody has its own individual puzzle pieces. So for
Yes.
example, if it's pessimistic or negativity, I'll start there. Actually, that's where I normally start with 100% of my patients, is with gratitude, because we know that optimism can actually help your child's brain and body heal and actually strengthen the connections between the prefrontal cortex and the amygdala, so they make better decisions. So it's like waking up on the right side of the bed every day. So it's really powerful. So that's where I start off with, like, the history, getting them to understand what is exactly going on, because they're not going to be able to make these changes unless you educate them, because they're not going to be able to make changes if we just tell them, do this, do that, do this. So that's why helping them understand the why and what's exactly going on in the child, figuring out where the individual deficiencies are, and then starting from there. And then I really start with gratitude, because you can work with diet and lifestyle and all these pieces, but if you're waking up pessimistic and it's like, this sucks, and especially in this world right now, I mean, like, unhappiness sells. So fear sells. So that's why our children are growing up in a world of negativity. So we have to start with, the positivity. And immediately when you wake up in the morning, say 10 things that you're thankful for every single day. It's so super powerful.
Grateful people are healthier.
Yes.
They are more active. Their inflammation levels are lower. I did a whole Sunday night service on gratitude a couple of years ago. I can't remember all the stats, but you talked about here, gratitude and optimism strengthen the connections between the amygdala and the prefrontal cortex, improving overall health and well-being. In a world of negativity, it's even more important now to train our subconscious to be more positive. This includes us parents,
Absolutely.
the mothers, the fathers, not just the children, because, as women, if we are negative Nellies, now you're technically not the head of the household. Your man is, but your husband is, your husband is.
My baby daddy.
Your baby daddy is the head of the household. I'm not married, so I am technically the head of the household. So we set the tone, though, for the home. When we walk through that door right there, we set the tone. And if we're negative and if we're ungrateful, those children pick up on that.
Absolutely. And, especially, and that's where we have to consciously change our subconscious to be more positive, because and then that, you're right, it includes us parents, because the kids are like sponges. They pick up this energy. It's so important to start off with positivity and gratitude to decrease their stress, because we know that negativity and being pessimistic actually increases cortisol.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so therefore it's super important to understand to gratitude, that should be ingrained into your everyday routines. And that, just like we teach our kids to wake up, go to the bathroom, brush their teeth, incorporate gratitude in that.
That's exactly right. That's right. So we know we've got to address gratitude and all. So what is your definition of holistic parenting? Because this whole book is about holistic parenting. What is it?
So it's really about, because your child is a mind, body, soul. We are mind, body, souls.
That's right.
And we understand that, our decisions are made by our brains. And we know that there's an entire world of, neuroeconomics that really helps us children, to decide that, how is this person going to make these decisions depending on their brain. So holistic parenting uses all that science that we know of about decision making and how their body works. It's really a combination of integrative, holistic, functional medicine along with the parenting worlds. Because up till now, when I was, reading these books and trying to understand, I was like, wait, it's like all the same stuff, but it's really difficult to, we can't parent these sick children of today the same way that our parents parented us. They're living in a completely different world. So we got to look at this at multiple different levels all at once. So holistic parenting helps to nurture a child's brain, body, soul from the inside out with the skills that they need for emotional intelligence, enduring deep friendships, making correct decisions, managing stress, and being able to be resilient all throughout adulthood, no matter what life throws at them. So it's all about raising mindful children. And this mindfulness allows us to see our internal and external world clearly, showing us how best to respond to and be fully aware at multiple different levels of perception all at once. And so holistic parenting, again, can educate and empower this child to understand, be mindful of how they're feeling, their social environment, their emotions, their other, just all over, learning to keep it all in balance. And when it does start to sway, we as parents have given them the tools that they need to immediately look back and reflect and say, okay, where in my lifestyle could I use, where do you think I'm out of balance that now is affecting me, and what can I do to help put myself back into balance? And that then increases the resilience in any situation. So we know as holistic parents, that can affect the DNA, it can help the cells and the mitochondria and the immune system and the microbiome. And so just using what we know as with parenting and functional medicine to help our children make correct decisions. And again, those steps are very similar: digestive health and detoxification. The 4 S's: stress, sleep, social, and spiritual health. So just like, and that's what I thought. I'm like, I'm doing this with my patients, right? Where me and you are doing this with our patients and our clients, that as soon as they're, right, they're dealing with autoimmune issues, they're dealing with, mood issues, whatever it is. Okay, now let's see where your lifestyles are out of balance. Let's try to fix that. Let's give you the tools you need to fix it, and then they help you be resilient and mindful no matter what life throws at you. So why don't we as parents teach that? So that's where holistic parenting is all about. And then incorporating these key foundations of holistic health, functional medicine, digestive health, detoxification, the 4 S's: stress, sleep, social, and spiritual health, the same stuff that you even talk about, into their children's daily routines. And that, just like we try to incorporate into our daily routines. I found that as I was doing this, I was then doing this with my children. And that's when it sort of blew my mind, because of the fact that, it was fun to, I walked downstairs and which isn't the great breakfast, but the thing is, my 7-year-old was eating sauerkraut for breakfast, right? But he's like, I'm like, well, what are you doing? Well, why are you eating sauerkraut for breakfast? And he goes, I woke up this morning feeling a little agitated, and I felt like maybe it was because of the organic sugar we had at Nana's house yesterday. So I came downstairs and he had like a bowl of sauerkraut. He was just eating it. I'm like, why are you eating this? He goes, oh, to help my good bugs in my belly, because if the good bugs in my belly feel better, I'll feel better. So this is a child who's 7 years old, who is able to reflect immediately before even something becomes a problem. So he's not throwing temper tantrums. He's not like going crazy, depressed. He's immediately able to reflect at every given moment. And this is a 7-year-old. So can you imagine if our children are all able to do this, and our adults will be able to do this, right? Yeah. And same thing with my 10-year-old. I walked into my 10-year-old, well, when he was 10, he just turned 11. And he was meditating on its own. And I'm like, okay, what are you doing? He goes, oh, Mama, I felt like I just needed to put my nervous system back into balance. I woke up, I think I'm like a little anxious because of my test. I just wanted to like rest and I'm like, this is so powerful.
You bet it is.
Right? And so that's where we need to now start to educate and empower our children, that even every bite that they put in their mouth, every hug, every thought that they have, all of that, at every chemical, the increased screen time, whatever they're taking in any different way and surrounding themselves with, is actually influencing their biology.
You bet. And they learned that from you. So they learn it from us. And so
yeah, you have the role model behaviors. Absolutely.
You bet. And so, oh yes, AJ says, what a smart little child. Yes. But that child wasn't born knowing this. And so we teach that. And you've taught, and holistic parenting to me, what you're saying is wellness. And wellness for me is different than health, because wellness is emotional and physical and spiritual and sexual and mental and social wellness and, even economic wellness. I mean, that's wellness, all those different balls in the air over there. And you're teaching them this balance, and we're not always balanced, but both times your children realize that ball, one of them physically and emotionally for the other one was a little off balance, and they were righting the ship. And that's where the problem is. As adults, you and I were chronically sick with chronic lifestyle diseases that never got a chance to right the ship. The body wants to be healthy. It doesn't take much. Imagine if we would have learned this at their age, right? If you and I, we wouldn't have had all the things going on with us.
So powerful. And to, and us as parents, if we can just start to, we have these conversations, and it's all about, you got to talk to your kids. So what are you going to talk to your kids about? Right? So teaching them those life skills that will actually improve because we're all going to deal with stresses. We're all going to deal with ups and life's going to throw ups and downs with us. So we as parents need to instill these habits and lifestyle tips into our children's daily routines to help them immediately reflect and try to figure out, okay, how can I put my bodies back into balance when life throws me a little wrench? And specifically when they wake up in the morning, we start with gratitude every morning. Every morning and at night, we work with gratitude. Even throughout the day, I'll be like, oh, hey, what kind of things is what we're thankful for? Or I'll be singing it. We actually have like a gratitude song immediately when they wake up. They say, we all do it together. So thank you for my eyes. Thank you for my ears. Thank you for another beautiful day to change the world. So all of that is super, super important to incorporate this into your lifestyle.
You bet it is. And it's a lifestyle. And it starts at home. And, by the time they get in first grade and second grade, it's never too late, ever. Yeah. It's never too late. But we need to start now. And when you think about, okay, diet, we need an anti-inflammatory diet, right? And you talk about artificial, fake, processed foods, and I do too, fake, bagged, canned, Franken-food out there. And, you have to have the sauerkraut in the house for the kid to eat the sauerkraut. Now, if you've got Eggo waffles, even if they're gluten-free waffles in there, you're still talking about processed inflammation. And inflammation.
And in my house, we call this what it is. Fake food. It's chemical. Yes. Why are we sugarcoating this, right? And calling this food? So that's why, because we know that junk food literally shapes our children's brains, that impairs their ability to think, learn, remember. It actually lowers their performance on memory tests and, even they're unable to control these impulsive behaviors, and increases even, depression and anxiety. So, and especially with mental health issues on such a rise. And we know now, as science has proven, that what you put in your belly directly affects your brain. So why don't we educate and empower our children exactly what real food is and fake food is? So whenever I went grocery shopping with the kids, I would have them read labels. And then if they didn't know something, they would come home and look it up and say, oh, that's what that is, Mama. I'm like, do you want to put that in your body? They're like, no. And then you find healthier alternatives. So that's what I've done. And it's been super powerful and really, really, we're there now in charge of their own bodies. And it's not me constantly saying, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this. It's because they're educated. And they know that for them, these other foods don't even look appetizing to them. Because one, if they want pancakes and cookies and cakes, I've made them at home. So I cook for a family of 8 on a daily basis, and on the weekends, I can go to 20. So if I can do this, anybody can do this. I'll have the cake. So whatever the kids will crave, they have it there. But then so when they see the artificial fake stuff, they're like, Mom, that's just chemicals. Why would I want to put that in my body? It doesn't even look appetizing to them anymore.
Isn't that amazing? And every single one of us can do this, ladies and gentlemen,
Yes.
with our kids. My kids are grown now. I wish I would have done this. I was not a nurse practitioner. I was in school. I was on food stamps, on a medical card, trying to raise 2 kids alone in a town. I didn't know anybody. And I was just trying to get it done. And many women and men are in the same boat. You know, it takes educating these kids. It takes picking up those labels and reading that and doing it does. And, you know, but it's worth it. I wish I would have done that. You know, one child, you know, and it's kind of the luck of the draw, right? So I have one child who didn't struggle at all. Another one who had lots of learning difficulties and bullied. And I thought she was autistic for a while, but she's not, you know, so, and I didn't do her any favors. And so, but here's the thing, as people listen to this, you know, they may be overwhelmed and go, oh my gosh, I can't, you know. No, you don't have to do it all at one time, but we brought these babies into this world. They didn't ask to get here. And whatever it takes on our end, I've already raised mine. It's by the grace of God. They are productive members of society, but they easily could not have been. I did not have any margin in my life. There was no margin for me. There was no room for error. I was overcommitted, stressed over everything. And, you know, it starts at home. We have to automate, eliminate, and delegate things in our life and focus more on these children, because we are on our phones all day. There we are right there on Facebook right now. We are looking at our phones and we are not looking at our kids. And it makes me sad because, you know, I felt like many times I kept saying to my kids, just a minute, just a minute, just a minute, as they were saying, mama, mama, mama. And I've already raised mine, but many of you have not. And I'm telling you right now, there is nothing more important than looking your children in the eye, giving them what they need. Because we are raising, as you saw, just a few of these statistics, a very sick generation of children. Absolutely. And it's on us. It's on us. This is on us.
Absolutely. This is not, you know, and it's not rocket science. It's really simple things that we can incorporate into our daily routines. And the kids don't really need much. But, you know, when they don't, right now, I think it's only like, I mean, the statistics are only 7 minutes the kids get like face-to-face conversation, 7 minutes a day. That's ridiculous. Yes. And so we need to now start to incorporate these like lifestyle tips into their daily routine, have a time for, you know, connection, have a time for sitting down and talking for, so then I've just sort of incorporated again, all these pieces into their daily routine. They wake up, they do their gratitude every morning, they come downstairs, they make their lunches, they all have their chores. And that's when we're talking, we're connecting, you know, we're seeing what's going on. I love that, especially with boys where they don't really open up to you as much. It's nice to get like being doing things together. And then, so we connect in the morning, how they're feeling, what they're would want to do with their day. And then giving them goals and what they need to accomplish and whatever stresses they may have. And so, and then they're all having their chores. So my 11-year-old now does the lunches for everybody, like all 4 kids. He does the lunches. My 6-year-old takes out the dishes from the dishwasher from the night before. My 8-year-old puts all the dishes away. I'm sitting there helping them coordinate whatever they need help with, maybe go put something in the stove or whatever it is, just to make breakfast. So then by 9 o'clock, the dishes are done, the laundry is done, everything is done, and we've just connected and we've gotten that stuff done. Right, yes. Which is a lot of fun. And then focusing on tons of vegetables, clean protein, healthy fats. And the kids go down the list. So he makes his lunch completely on his own because he knows vegetables, clean protein, healthy fats. Like focus on what all these diets have in common, not what they're all different. And that will really help to optimize their immune system. So we focus easily. That's something that they're doing completely on their own. And then they feel a sense of accomplishment that, oh my God, look, I've already accomplished all this. So then they go to school, they come back, we'll do our prayer. I'll sit there and talk to them again. we'll have our meal, like after school meal, just figure out, maybe go outside in the sunshine. Right now it's cold. So usually in the summer times, we'll go outside first thing in the morning and collect whatever we had from the garden. Now it's like, lots of snow.
Yes.
So we
Yes.
don't do that. But to know that we need to start to incorporate, all of these pieces into their daily routine. And then we do our Epsom salt baths. They do it on Wednesdays, and they make sure that right before they, go to the shower, they dry brush. So again, just like we teach them how to brush their teeth, we got to incorporate these key foundational pieces of holistic parenting, of functional medicine, of overall health and wellness into their daily routines. And everybody is different, and whatever works best for them is different. So figure out what works best for your household.
That's exactly right. Man. And it's consistency. Consistency is key.
Consistency. No one is perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. And no one is perfect. And we can't do it, all day, every day,
No.
Perfectly. But just like your health, if you mess up, you just got to get right back on it the next day, because,
Absolutely.
we're not perfect by any means. What do you recommend? I mean, I'm going to tell you guys, I want you, every single one of you, to order this book on wherever, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, of course, Barnes and Noble, your local bookstore. I'm a big fan of buying this from any book from your local bookstore. You will be blown away. Tell me this, what about a few supplements? Do you think that children need? What are your basics? Because I know what my basics are, what I tell patients, and I'm going to write down. I don't know what yours are. I'm going to see if we are in sync on this. What do you think, supplement wise?
Well, absolutely. Because, unfortunately, our children, they're like, oh, we should get everything through food. But with all this lack of diversity, specifically in children, more than 90% of Americans, including our children, are deficient in one of these nutrients.
Yes.
They're deficient in magnesium, vitamin D, selenium, vitamin K2, vitamin E, potassium. All of that is lost from the modern diet. So what I recommend most of the kids that I see, one, obviously we want to make sure that they're eating like lots of vegetables, clean protein, healthy fats, because again, lack of protein is like a lot of kids they're more carboholics, and they're having lack of protein, and that lack of protein obviously is causing problems in their brains and their bodies, their DNA. They actually shown that they have smaller brains. Same with their omega-3, which actually reduces the inflammation. It protects their brain, helps them with memory, faster processing speeds. But unfortunately, again, 90% of our children are deficient in omega-3. So omega-3s are certain, because the deficiency causes autism, ADHD, seizure disorder, schizophrenia, violent behaviors, not good. So fish oil is a must. My kids have that regularly, along with vitamin D, because we know that, again, vitamin D is super important, and most people are deficient in that. So vitamin D, fish oil, and probiotics in a multi is really, I know.
That is exactly what I just wrote down. Multivitamin, D3, probiotic, EPA, DHA, right there. I knew. Guys, we did not talk about
it. Seriously.
No. But that's what I recommend. Those are my foundational 4, Danny's foundational 4 right there. So what else? Right, and a good multivitamin is going to have the A and some magnesium in it, and some E and things like that. Okay, absolutely. Keep talking. Sorry, I didn't.
Yeah, no. And that's, if we can just start to incorporate these things into our children's, again, daily routines, it'll help them with overall function and behavior. Because if we can remember, a balanced routine leads to a balanced body, brain, and behavior. So it's all about creating this balanced routine that works best with your child. And then just seeing them act like real normal human beings. Like, people are like, how could you have written all of these books? So we actually, so I wrote this one, and then I wrote 5 during this pandemic so far. So it's continuing. I'm writing 6th. So then we have our children's book series that the kids helped me write. And and then I 2 other books, but they're like, how did you do that during the pandemic with all 4 kids at home? Yeah, that's the first one. And then it's because of the fact that when their brains and bodies work, us mamas, we got our sanity.
Yes.
It's when the kids are throwing temper tantrums, constantly hungry, because this way they're satiated. They don't have those ups and downs of insulin, that's throwing them out. They're not hangry all the time. They are real human beings that are satiated. I'm not in the kitchen all day long because I'm cooking nutrient-dense foods that that will satiate the body. So again, we have to provide them what they need, and then just see them grow. And I'm not that type that actually, and I'm just experimenting. I'm like, I don't check their homework every day. I don't check their, that's their independence. I give them responsibilities. That's their responsibilities. If they're going to not do their homework, they're going to need to suffer the consequences. But I provide the petri dish of where they're growing, to making sure that their brain and their body and their mitochondria and each cell of their body is working the best that it can. And then I'm giving them the reins. And so that's what it's so powerful, is that once you do this, we think that us as mamas and grandparents and other caregivers, aunts and uncles, we don't have time for that. We just want to give them, the kids are asking for sugar, let's go give them sugar. They will become, yes, they will be quiet for a second, but they will become monsters later on. And that little 5 seconds of happiness that you had actually made your life harder. And that's when you feed your children real food, put them in an environment of low toxicity, increase detoxification, help them poop well, pee well, detoxify well, and then making sure that they're incorporating some sort of stress management technique into their daily routine. We are making sure their social environment's great, making sure they're sleeping well, making sure that they're grateful and positive. Now you have a child, yes, it may take a little bit more work on the front line, but now your sanity has been saved and you will be able to accomplish so much more compared to that child that is, dealing with mental and health, physical, psychological issues.
That is exactly right. There you go. Boom. I mean, that is a mic drop right there. I mean, it's so true. Put the work in on the front end.
Yes.
It's John Maxwell, right out of your book here. You will never change your life until you change something you do daily. Right?
Beautiful.
The secret of success is found in your daily routine. John Maxwell. She has this in there, and she's talking all about daily routines in here. Okay, what else? What do you have going? What else? What's Tammy say? Hey, guys, I see you all on here. I see you, Bev and Tammy and AJ and Megan and Debbie and Stephanie and Marina and Hadayat. Nawab, she's probably going, Danny, you're terrible. But I agree with you. She's excellent over here in her information. Tammy says, what do you do for kids who are autistic, that have sensory issues with eating and only eat certain foods? Do you have any suggestions? She has a little guide.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So what we need to do is, again, you got to start small. Start with one, meal at a time, one bite at a time. And to first stock your house up with success. Because if your child's going to see, if you're going to be eating that crap, they're going to want to eat that. So you got to role model these behaviors for them. 2, stock your house up for success. So make sure that you have, the entire house, all the junk is gone. And so the kids can only have what's in the house. And so that's what I've done with my house, is where the kids can only eat what is in the house. So guess what? That cuts down. No, you can't do that. No, you can't do that. No, stop eating this. Stop eating that. Like the negativity that's associated with food. And there's only positivity that's associated with food, because you're like, yes, go ahead, have anything that you want here. Right?
That's exactly right.
And so that's So like, remember, role modeling this behavior, stocking up for success, the pantry, the fridge, anywhere, along with, having snacks and being prepared for in the car, for leftover, and stuff in the freezer. So just in case, But for example, if your child, for example, is only eating brownies and pasta, right? So what you want to do is you want to change that from the brownies. So yes, they can have brownies, but change that to an almond flour brownie or cassava flour brownie or a coconut flour brownie. And so therefore just start with little bitty steps. And so now you're giving them this brownie that was packed with processed junk with something that actually is nutrient dense. And then you want to go also to, like, for example, if they have pasta every day, instead of baby steps, instead of like the whole wheat junk pasta, you want to do so like the ramen noodles, you want to then go to something called like there's lentil pasta. There's so many different types of pastas and chickpea pasta. Whatever you need to do, make sure those are organic. But you want to you just find those replacements. And once you're able to decrease the overall like gut, because remember your gut microbiome, if it's packed with artificial, it's packed with like bad bugs, they're going to want to crave it. So actually what your child is actually craving is because there's a lot of bad bacteria out there, in their gut. And that's why their bad bacteria are actually hijacking their brain. So if we can slowly start to remove that junk and incorporate all the more good stuff, it's really powerful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what, Tammy? In her book, she has got amazing recipes. These are so good.
It's so much fun.
And things that kids will love, right?
Yes, that's what I tried to do. Yeah, there's burritos and tacos and pastas and
chicken
nuggets and fish sticks and things like that.
This is incredible. Hulk smoothies. And I am so excited and proud of you. I cannot wait to finish reading. It's like reading, it's just, yes, we're so aligned.
We are so aligned.
So let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. The United States is 46th in life expectancy worldwide. We spend more per capita per person, I believe that's correct, on healthcare than any other country in the world. And we are 46th in life expectancy worldwide. Unacceptable. 6 out of 10 adults have a chronic health condition. 4 out of 10 have 2 or more chronic health conditions. That's approximately 133 million Americans. By 2021, is that right? 2021, did I type that wrong? 83 million Americans will have 3 or more chronic lifestyle diseases, as opposed to only 30 million worldwide. This is crazy. Every 40 seconds, someone dies of a heart attack or by suicide. And we need to talk about this. 83% of Americans are metabolically unhealthy. Heart disease, cancer, and stroke account for greater than 1/2 of all deaths every year. Guess what? Heart attack, cancer, and stroke, those are chronic lifestyle diseases. Those are diseases that you weren't born with, and neither were your children. And if you weren't born with them, I am living proof, and so is Dr. Saeed, that you can reverse it, or at least turn it around, dial it back greatly so that you don't have to live with this every day. It's absolutely unacceptable. The CDC states that chronic disease is the leading cause of death and disability in the United States. 7 out of every 10 deaths every year are caused from chronic lifestyle diseases. BS is all I say. This is ridiculous. NPR reported there's a 52.4% decline in sperm concentration and 59% decline in total sperm count over the last 39 years. Well,
that's ridiculous. We are becoming extinct as a humankind.
We are personally becoming extinct right here in front of us as we speak. And I don't doubt it. I have more and more and more infertile couples in my office every single year that I have to send over to, maternal fetal, but infertility, all the MFN, those people here in town. Mm-hmm. It's unbelievable. Not only is the sperm count going down, their testosterone levels are going down drastically. Their hand strength is going down drastically. These guys, this is ridiculous. So these are just a few of the statistics out of her book.
Absolutely. And our planet, like, look, the United Nations says we only have 60 harvests left. That's ridiculous.
Say that
Like, we
again.
need to wake up. The United Nations says we only have 60 harvests left of good soil because we've been dumping so many chemicals into the land that's actually just depleting the soil, and it's turning to dirt, which is like monocrop. And so the soil, which is rich in all its bacterial microbial diversity, we're destroying that. It's literally leading to desertification and leading to, you know, big places where all like the ocean, like dry, dead zones in the oceans. It's craziness. And 60 harvests left. So if our children are if our children are all autistic or sick, you know, if we're all sick, and then our planet is sick, what's going to happen to humanity? This is why I needed to write this book, because we have the tools and they're simple, easy. Like, both of us are living this. If we can do this in our crazy lifestyles, anybody can do this. And there's so much hope that we can do, that we can incorporate into our daily routines that easy, fast, time, and cost effective, and can really create change.
That's exactly right. What you were saying right here, about the ocean and about the diversity and all, we've lost 75% of the oceans, of the pollinator species, which are disappearing at the rate of mass extinction. This is what she's saying in her book. The oceans feed more than 500 million people, but now there are less than 500 marine. There are at least 500 marine dead zones around the world. 500, which means and that's up from fewer than 50 in 1950. A dead zone refers to the reduced level of oxygen in the water, leading to marine death and biological deserts. The second largest dead zone in the world is located in the United States. It's in the northern Gulf of Mexico.
Craziness.
On us. Shame on us.
I know, and we have all the resources that we need. We have everything, but we are destroying the planet and destroying our children with every bite that we take.
You bet. And if you don't think the food industry, if you think the food industry is interested in your health, you are sadly mistaken, or your third grader's health, or your fourth grader's health, or your second grader with autism. They're not interested at all. What they're interested in is addiction. And all you have to do is look at the line around Chick-fil-A every single day, breakfast, lunch.
Seriously. Oh my gosh.
Look at the line around McDonald's every morning, every time at lunch, every day at lunch and at dinner. Look at the Taco Bell line. Look at the Cracker Barrel line. They are interested in addiction. And that food tastes the same in Franklin, Tennessee as it does in Chicago and New York City, because it was made in a chemistry lab. And your child is the chemistry experiment. Am I right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I know you got me fired up tonight. Like, all right, ladies and gentlemen, anything else that you want to talk about? We can turn this around. This is not a death sentence over here.
This is not.
It's got to stop with us.
Absolutely. And there's so much that we can do. So if I can feed a family of like 20 regularly, you guys can do this. And if I can do this with our busy schedule, and you know, anybody can do this. And so what we need to understand is that our perspective can either be our pain, or our perspective can be our power. And so we need to understand that these simple things that we incorporate into our daily routine, yes, you know, the world is like, you know, destroying itself. Oh my gosh, we're getting sicker, but there's so much that we can now look at it and say, okay, this is what we've been doing. These are the outcomes. So let's change this up and then change our lives around. And to understand, you know, it's all about that love and that connection, and educating and empowering your child and your families and guiding them all along the way with a positive mindset and these life skills to navigate our changing world. And so every conversation that you have with your child, every hug, everything you do, every bite they put on into their bodies, their stresses, their sleep, their social, their spiritual health has ability and the power to mold our children's brains and bodies for the better. And then when we do that, when we start to focus on healthier futures and generations, we lower the overall inflammation, we optimize their mitochondrial function. The children have the health and the energy that they need to change our food system, fix the economy, and even bring out world peace. So that is where I am focused on. If we can try to heal the change, be the change that you wish to see in the world, if we can start with us and our families, and then create that ripple effect that can change the world from the inside out. And that's where, I can't even imagine what we're going to be able to accomplish. Yes, we've gotten to where we are today, but we've been sick. So I can't even imagine what we're going to be able to accomplish when we are feeling our very best. Can you imagine if we raise a future generation that's mindful, like as soon as it starts to even like get off balance and able to use its life skills that we've taught them to put themselves back into balance, the sky is the limit. This is so doable. There's so much hope. We got this, you guys.
We do have this. Woo! And Tammy will end it on this. Thank you, ladies, for everything. I'm getting the book. You guys are amazing. Oh, let me tell you something. You all are amazing. Each and every single one of you can make a change out there and make a difference in this next generation and these kids right now. And what we've gone through the last 2.5 years, going on 3 years, these children need us. They need our full attention more than ever. And Chris says, yes, a doctor is good for a diagnosis. Do your homework to fix the problem. That's right. I have GERD and I take digestive enzymes. Chew your food, take your enzymes. Gallbladder's acting up, eat less fat. Amen to that.
Absolutely.
I'm not a doctor, but I'm a nurse practitioner. But doctors, nurse practitioners, ER, they're good to diagnose. That's right. But we aren't taught preventative medicine. I wasn't taught one thing about preventative medicine, and you must learn that on your own. Lavu Jardin, Nancy, let me tell you, I will put the link up here for her book. I'll put it up as soon as we finish this. I'll put it up on the Facebook. Okay. You can get it on Amazon, Barnes and Noble. You can get it, your local bookstores, everywhere. Yeah, she's the real deal. And I'm hoping I can bring her to Nashville here.
Yes. Yeah, wait, you're not that far.
No, we're not that far at all. All right, ladies and gentlemen, listen, there's no Sunday night service next Sunday night. I'm going to be out of town, but this week starts the 4th and final week for my birthday month sale. And tonight at 12:01 starts glutathione and CoQ10. Those are the two things that are going on sale. Two big mitochondria building powerhouses.
So important.
Very important, and they don't ever go on sale. So they're 10% off this week online and in the supplement store. And if you don't get my newsletter, you need to go to DannyWilliamson.com. You also need to go to Holistic Mom MD right there. There we go. HolisticMomMD.com. Sign up for her newsletter. Sign up for her. She's amazing. Go read her website. It's phenomenal. We love you. We appreciate you. Yes, I can't. There we go. Right there. Woo-hoo. Love you. Appreciate. Ladies and gentlemen, have a great week. If this overwhelms you, don't be overwhelmed. One thing at a time. And remember, gratitude. Man, start with gratitude. Before you do anything, start with gratitude. Start with gratitude. When you're more grateful, your kids see it. They're calmer. And I'm telling you, all day long, I'm like, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Jesus, thank you for this all day.
All day long.
Aren't you just being grateful all day?
All day long. And that's where I feel like that is, and the kids see it, and it just really radiates happiness throughout the house. So that's a great place.
You bet it does. All right, my friend. We sure do love you. We sure do love you. You guys have a great